Longevity. What is it? How do I get it? Once I get it, how do I keep it? If you're concerned or curious, or even on the other side of the spectrum, fully focused on your longevity, then today's Monday Lunch Live is for you. My name is Ryan Sanders. I am the owner and lead coach of Project Fresh. And for over the last 13 years, I've helped people take control of their health, optimize performance, and build sustainable habits that stick. As a certified strength and conditioning specialist and a certified sports nutrition coach, I've had the opportunity to work with everyone from athletes to busy professionals, coaching them through the science and real world challenges of fitness and nutrition. So here I share the stories, the lessons, and the systems that make that long-term wellness possible. And I love what I do. I truly love this. I do. I really enjoy it. And so with that being said, we're talking about what is longevity. And so oftentimes what I've gathered over the years, from the time I can think back to being a kid back in the day, I don't think we would have said longevity. We would have just said, wow, they're really old, which is not necessarily the same thing. Or they've been around a long time, right? Or longevity in the context of maybe being around there for people in your family, people you love, right? Or sometimes referred to in the context of health. Longevity is two things. I'm actually really curious. I like to occasionally pop open a Google search here and just see what it says. So, longevity is a capacity to live a long life, often defined by extending both lifespan and health span. Key factors include diet, physical activity, and genetics, with typical life expectancies reaching 83 to 86 years. While it offers increased life quality, risks include chronic disease management and societal burdens. We talked a little bit about societal burdens. Studies indicate 50% probability of men to live to 83 and women to 86, according to some data from 2022. So if you asked your Google or you asked your Apple or whatever you use to consult on the internet these questions, that's what you'd find. And that's excellent. That's a very excellent definition, because that's exactly where I was headed. A lot of the leading MDs, physicians, those who are forward thinking, looking at the preventative ways to have better longevity, are speaking in those terms, lifespan and health span. Now, what I was getting to was generally when we look at longevity, we think about the first one usually, not so much the second. Although intuitively and subconsciously, we definitely think about the second one. Lifespan, how long do you live? Well, we just saw that men have a 50% chance of making it to 83. Women have a 50% chance of making it to 86. If you look at it from the context of biblically, it's the verse, I always forget the verse, but it's 70 years or three scores plus 10. I can't remember if that's Moses in Psalm 90. But in the context, we're getting three scores, four scores based on those. So modern health is helping us come back up from, depending on where you look back to how long humans used to live, hundreds of years from a biblical perspective, to not very long, 30s and 40s, to now modern times, 83 to 86, according to recent data. And so that's that front side, right? That lifespan, how long we get to live. And out of all of the hundreds of people I've coached and spoken with, probably thousands at this point, I've had people tell me they don't want to live a long time. 90 is too old, 100 is too old, 80 is too old. But the second part of longevity often comes up, the health span, the quality of those years lived. Well, I definitely want to live I want to live well. I don't want to take everything I've worked hard for, retirement if I have it, money if I have it saved aside, if I have plans set, paying the doctor all of that hard earned money instead of spending it on time with family, time on areas that I wanted to work on that I couldn't during work. A lot of people just like to play golf and hang out. not my vision. of retirement per se. I don't think I will retire based on what I do now. I love what I do. I can see myself doing this for the rest of my life. I've seen a lot of people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s doing this work. Very cool. And so with that being said, that is effectively what longevity is. So how do I find it? How do I obtain it? Well, as that Google said, there are certain factors. I'll bring that back up real quick, see what it said. There's certain factors that influence longevity. So you don't hear us say diet here on this channel. I was just reading verbatim, because what are the first three letters of diet? Die. And that's exactly what diets do. They are designed to last for a period of time to get a desired end result. I should come up with some kind of acronym for diet. I haven't thought about that, but they are effectively intended to die. So we like to say nutrition or food, very simply. Food and fitness, how you fuel yourself determines part of that. Physical activity, we talk about that all the time, not just in the sense of going out for hikes or walks or bikes or swims, but strength training, more important than anything else. Load-bearing exercise, strength training, weight training, absolutely important and a huge factor on longevity. And then genetics. And so the top leading physicians, the ones who are forward-looking, getting back to that point, are the ones that are talking about longevity and the impacts. And one of those key pieces is the muscle, building muscle, substantial muscle. You guys have seen the study of the 70-year-old or 75-year-old triathlete compared to the 75-year-old sedentary man. And you can see how much muscle there is in the 75-year-old triathlete compared to the marbled, very minimal muscle, lots of fat, sedentary gentleman, being a stark contrast. And that's in the 70s. I'll get to this point briefly. It ties into the genetics piece. But also compared to a 40-year-old triathlete, the exact same cross section, very healthy muscle, very, very, very little fat. We do not slow down going into our 70s. It's usually a little bit after that point, 70, 75-ish. But leading into it, we do not slow down. Our muscle, our ability to maintain muscle does not diminish until we get into our 70s. And why is that? Genetics are what play the factor. What mom and dad gave you starts to become more of a factor 70 and beyond. How you do with your health, how long you live, all those factors, and everything leading up to it definitely influences the experience you have in those first 7 decades. And I know it has an influence on the years after those first 7 decades. So if you are one of those to hit the 50% mark of 83 to 86, fantastic. You go beyond that, even more so, wonderful. I've got an uncle who's 83, I believe, this year. I can't believe it's been 3 years since we celebrated his 80th. But well over 4 decades, he's been doing Bikram yoga. Was an excellent football player back in his day. He actually was asked to play for the Chicago Bears in his prime. And so he's maintained that over the years. Men in my family have a propensity to blow up in the midsection and have all kinds of issues. My dad had prostate cancer, major inflammation of the prostate, grew 2 times bigger, or was it 60% larger? What was it? It was far larger than his bladder. Far larger than his bladder. Looking at the MRIs, we saw the actual MRIs. And it's supposed to be, I think, maybe a 2/3, a third, a half the size, if that. Prostate's not supposed to be very big. Passed from cancer after 4 years. Men in my family have a propensity to blow up in the midsection, become inflamed, and deal with some kind of issue, depending on along the track from the mouth, the teeth, all the way down to the heart, lungs, and digestive system, somewhere along the lines. That inflammation of the midsection is our demise. If you've got similar aspects in your maternal or paternal or both, dementia happens to be on both sides of my family now. Learning more recently, my dad's mom is dealing with it. So there's a lot of little different factors where the things that influence longevity come into place. And as I said, weight training is huge. It makes the muscles larger, stronger. More important, that's huge. It also helps with this not only the strength of the muscles, as I said, but also the size. And why is that important? We look at the cell when we have muscle that is strong and constantly being challenged. It revs up the powerhouse of the cell, the mitochondria, and that helps us regulate so many different things: our energy, our sugar, our hormones, our digestive system in general, and so many other different things. It helps with sleep, boosts serotonin, which helps cycle in melatonin, which helps us with quality of sleep. The body is not repairing itself, mind and body, then we're going to have a hard time. So muscle, both in the context of strength and cross-sectional size, the size of the muscle is very important. And then third, where strength can really help with this, but also those cardio activities that I mentioned in a interval HIIT style. Okay, HIIT training, interval training is the VO2. And those, I think, are the things that really dictate what kind of duration we have, but more importantly, the quality of those years in the context of longevity, excuse me. And so with that being said, we're almost there for today, but that is what longevity is. That's what we've seen. I've shared with you my own personal experience, my own family history, as well as what I've seen with clients. I've got two guys right now that are in their 80s, still working out, still pushing play 2 to 3 times a week, showing up, getting the strength training in, getting the cardio in, going out, playing golf, riding the bike, going to the gym and working out. Suffered through cancer scares, hernias, all kinds of different things. And these guys are still showing up and working out and having the lifestyle that they want. Just got to see them a couple weeks ago in person. They're doing well, still shaking my hand, nice, strong handshake, still very present, still very active with the group, engaging with the group. And they're an inspiration to me. That's what I'd love to see and experience in my 80s if I make it that far. But the interesting thing too is that my dad passed at 64. My grandfather passed at 24. Let's see, 24 years old. My great grandfather, from what I understand, passed, I think, in his 50s, maybe 60s, somewhere in there. I have to double check with my uncle. But the lifespan of men in my family is, 64 is the longest I can tell for sure, because I was sitting right next to my dad when he passed away. I was literally right there sitting next to him when he passed. And 64 is the oldest that I know as far as men. The ladies live much longer in my family. My grandma's going to be turning 90. She was born in 29, so she'd be turning 97. Or no, was it 28? 97, 98 this year. Her mother or grandmother lived to be 99. There was an aunt in there somewhere that was 90s, almost 100. So the ladies on my family, on my dad's side, my mom's side too, her mom lived to be in her 90s, live a long time. So a lot of challenges for me looking ahead, right? And so I take this very seriously for myself, but I also take this very seriously for my clients who, whether it is your lifespan, whether it is your health span, or whether it is both, we have the tools, the resources, and the experience and knowledge and science, as well as anecdotal experience, to show you what it is that can make the difference. Now, the two men that I said I've been working with those guys going on 10 years next year. So I started with them when they were in their 70s. And what allowed me to understand that that was a possibility was my original mentor shared with me that he had a couple that he's working with who were in their 90s, still showing up, walking into the gym that he trained in. He's in his 50s, and training both of them together. I mean, it's not like we're doing crazy sessions or anything, but still working with them a couple times a week, and they're in their 90s, and he's taking them through strength training. So really the choice is yours. Yes, are genetics possibly against you? Are the environmental factors, people you live with, the environment you live in, the food you eat, the water you drink, the air you breathe, are those all factors? Yes, I'm sure there are some factors there. but you still ultimately have the choice to offset that. You still have the ability to make the decisions to adjust. And if it's a matter of finances, trust me, I get it. Um, Being from a family where parents experienced bankruptcy and getting kicked out of houses because they couldn't pay, and growing up on food stamps, and even seeing challenges myself as an adult, in the financial world, I get that. Totally understand it. I'm not discounting it. But I still put in the investments. I still prioritize the money for my health over a lot of other things that I would like to do, that I may even need to do sometimes, because I know that ultimately there is a season where my money exceeds where I'm at now, but I don't take care of my health. The money can't pay for the health that I want. And I'll just end with this in the context of longevity. I think I shared this story once before. I was working with a gal who used to be a physical therapist, and she was operating in a hospital and encountered a guy that came in that had cancer, and fought, got to stage 4, gave him the bad news. Sorry, sir, you're not going to make it. Well, it turns out this gentleman is a billionaire, so obviously well under the 1%, right? The 0.1%, probably the 0.01%, even maybe. And when he was diagnosed, basically his response to that was, wow, this is the first time in my life where money cannot buy something. And that something was his own health, his own future, his own well-being. And maybe he neglected. I don't know the background story. I don't know. The idea more was that money can't buy our health. If you don't, you got to do something about it, whatever your resources may be. I don't know the rest of the story, but he was in a situation where his money could not help him. The doctors, he could pay millions of dollars. It wouldn't change his verdicts. The only person who could change his verdict at this point would be God himself, right? So just a thought that I want to leave you guys with is, yes, we don't know when our last day is. We don't know how we will go. But for the time being, while we're living, while we're still present, we still have the decision, the opportunity, and 100% control to determine what our day is going to be like. And if we live that way day after day, the chances of seeing better, positive health outcomes increases. Our risk of seeing poor health outcomes on average, and it's about 90% so 9 out of 10 people, if we're working on our fitness, if we're working on our health, and that's the fringes, that's the cancers, the inabilities, the born with defects, the developmental challenges, the fibromyalgias, the autoimmunes. I've worked with ladies who have fibromyalgia, stenosis in the back, terrible pregnancies, all those things, challenging menopause, you name it, everything. I've seen some people really come back strong because they continue to emphasize their fitness, their nutrition, and they have a group of people around them that are supporting them in those decisions, not speaking against it in any way, shape, or form. 100% totally for that person and that decision. So I've just given you the book, the keys, the script to what can make the difference. Of course, I can't guarantee or cure anything or help anybody. That's, there's no guarantees, of course, but from what we've seen, that makes all the difference. So if longevity is something that you guys are very interested in and want to continue, drop in the comments. Let's see, call. We do have a call tonight. I'm just going to give you this real quick here. There's just something that most people don't realize until it's too late, and it's your joints, your skin, and your strength. Your joints ability, your skin, and your strength don't suddenly decline. Those things, in the context of longevity, commonly referred to as aging, they slowly lose the building blocks that keep them strong. And so once you start to feel that kick in, I've met a lot of people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s experiencing that. We're not even talking 55 plus AARP status. We're talking 20s, 30s, and 40s. You cannot ignore it. So if you guys are interested in hearing more about this, what we'll be covering, why these things start to accelerate after 40. They start at 20, but accelerate at 40. And some of the aspects of what we're using for our science-based partnership with Shaklee to really see some benefits and some add-ons, to what we do. Please drop call in the chat. I'll keep an eye on my chat and my notifications. And if for whatever reason you don't see me get back to you, just go ahead and email us at projectfreshcoaching@gmail.com. And we will get you those details so you can come join us for a webinar we have tonight. It's going to be some really good details. So in the meantime, you guys have yourself a wonderful start to May. And for my fans out there, May the 4th be with you. I hope you have a wonderful May 4th today. And with that being said, we'll see you guys next week, same time, same place for our Monday Lunch Live, 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll be here continuing to talk about the things that we are working on, the things that we see our clients going through, the challenges, the successes, and especially, most importantly, the systems we use to help and keep our clients successful. All right. We'll see you. Successful in their longevity specifically. Have a great day. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.